Harbor Me, Chapter 19. The day my uncle told me how my mother died, I was 6 years old. It was winter and we were in a park. There was a covered slide with that wound around like a snake, sending kids flying through a dark tunnel. Lots of kids landed so hard their parents carried them away in tears. But not me. I loved everything about that slide. The steep metal stairs that led to the top of it, the way you had to stand above it so that you could slip yourself in leg first, the way your body seemed to get snatched away, pulled through the darkness, then back into the bright light of winter. My uncle calls it the one time. The way you can do something again and again and again, and then that one time, something goes all kinds of wrong. I'd climbed to the top of the slide and slid my legs through. The tunnel sucked me into its darkness, and I happily screamed my way to the bottom. The park was nearly empty, but that day, as I sailed through the tunnel, another kid raced toward the slide on a scooter. He was a big kid and thick as a wall. My uncle saw it before I did. The kid coming toward the slide, me speeding through, then coming out into the light just as the kid sped past. We landed in a pile of banging heads, cracking bone, and blood. Through the pain, dizziness, and my own screaming, I could hear my uncle calling my name, telling me to stay awake. His voice was deep and ragged and filled with so much sadness it registered through my pain. But then my uncle wasn't calling my name. He was calling out to Barry. Barry, he said. Barry, please be okay. Barry was my mother's name, short for Beryl Lee. Then my uncle wasn't untangling me from the mess of screaming boy and spinning wheels. Through the haze of everything, I could see surprised looks on people's faces. I could hear the boy crying, could see a woman kneeling down to hug him. You're good, Barry, my uncle said again and again. You're gonna live. You're gonna be okay. It was my first and only time in an ambulance. I don't know how it got there, but I was inside of it, the sirens blaring, my uncle's ragged voice, the bright lights, and someone else. A paramedic, maybe, moving around us. On the way to the hospital, I tried to tell him I wasn't Barry, but the pain in my arm and head made it too hard to form words, and somewhere between the park and the hospital, I must have passed out. When I woke up, I was in the hospital room, and it was dark out. My arm was in a cast from shoulder to wrist, and there was a thick bandage over my ear. 16 stitches behind your ear, my uncle said, bending forward to kiss the top of my head. You're a soldier in the army of sliding board catastrophes. I'm not Barry, I said. It hurt to talk. The words pounded against my head. My uncle leaned closer. You're not very what, sweetie? No, I said, my words coming quiet and slow. I'm not Barry. You. You called me Barry before. The cast was heavy and tight. There were lights flashing on the wall and doctors being paged over an intercom. The room smelled like the alcohol prep pads my uncle kept in the medicine cabinet. You called me Barry, I said, but I'm Haley. My uncle was sitting in a chair right next to me. He leaned back and blinked until tears appeared. He wiped them away with his other hand, then blinked again. Beryl, he said. That's what we called Beryl. My mom? I tried to sit up, but it felt like somebody's huge hand was pushing me back down. He kissed the top of my head again, then leaned his cheek against it. I was so scared, he said. I was so scared like I was the night she died. My uncle and I had two rules. No lying, no dodging. If either one of us asked a question, the rule was the other person had to answer it. They couldn't try to dodge around it or change the subject. That's how wars happen, my uncle said. And family wars, too. How did she die? I asked. A car accident, my uncle said, when you were 3. You don't remember any of it? He sounded surprised. I remember she would sing to me, I said, a song about summertime. My uncle got quiet. He had been gently rubbing my head, but he stopped. I wanted him to keep doing it. It was a song about summertime, I said again. I was sleepy and my head was hurting again. Am I going to have to sleep here? Just tonight, my uncle said. He was sounding choky again. My mouth was hot and dry. My uncle got me a glass of water and helped me take a few small sips. The pain shooting through my arm hurt like crazy, hot and sharp as a flame. That big kid broke my clothes and my arm, I said. He didn't mean it. I know. We listened to the hospital sounds without saying anything. Somebody was calling for Dr. Somebody. A kid was crying somewhere. A nurse ran past my room. Will my dad always be in prison? I asked sleepily. Not always. But when he comes home, can I still live with you? We got time to figure it all out, Hales. He pulled his hand back to my head. He rubbed it until I fell asleep.